You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 25th of April. Indian Army Chief visits Kashmir. Pakistan violates ceasefire at LOC. Pakistan announces tit-for-tat actions after India degrades diplomatic ties. And UNFPA calls Afghanistan humanitarian priority amid crisis. And now for all the details. As search operations continue in India's Jammu and Kashmir over the Pahalgam attack, Indian Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi on Friday arrived in the Union Territory to take stock of the situation and for on-spot assessment. We have a report.
Amid the heightened tension and continuous search operations across the Kashmir Valley by security forces, Indian Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi arrived in Jammu and Kashmir to take stock of the situation. General Dwivedi was briefed about the developments by senior officials of Chinar Corps, reports have suggested. The visit comes days after the scenic meadow of Pahalgam in India's Jammu and Kashmir was rocked by a terrorist attack that killed 26 men, including 2 military personnel on leave. The attack was claimed by the Resistance Front, an offshoot of Pakistan-based terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba. Emphasizing the cross-border aid for terrorism, India has announced a slew of measures against Pakistan, including closure of the only land crossing of Atari and keeping the 1960 Indus Water Treaty at abeyance.
Army Chief is visiting Kashmir Valley today and to have an on-the-spot assessment of how the things happened in Pahalgam, Baisara, where innocent tourists were killed, massacred by the Pakistan-trained terrorists, and what are the security lapses, if any, and what are the steps required that could be done to plug in all the gaps at the LOC and other places for stopping the infiltration.
While India is yet to take any military action against the terror launch pads like it did following the attacks in Uri in 2016 and Pulwama in 2019, exchange of fire was reported at the line of control in the early hours of Friday. According to a statement by the Indian Army, small arms firing was initiated by the Pakistan Army at the LOC. The fire was effectively responded by the Indian Army, and no casualties were reported, an Indian Army official said in a statement to ANI.
A shattered Pakistan is bound to do all this that it is now trying to do. The moment the attack on Pahalgam happened, the Pakistan Air Force, all the planes were brought to the borders of India and Pakistan. They were deployed there, all the fighter aircrafts, and Pakistan knew that India is going to take certain strong steps. But now it is clearly showing that Pakistan is now shattered, it is scared, and that is why ceasefire violations.
And the day after New Delhi announced multiple measures against Pakistan over its support for cross-border terrorism in India, Islamabad responded in a tit-for-tat manner. Following a meeting of National Security Committee by Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Pakistan announced a slew of countermeasures against India. According to a statement from Sharif's office, Islamabad, like New Delhi, has ordered suspension of trade, including that from a third country with its eastern neighbor. Along with that, Pakistan also shut down the Wagah border crossing, declared the Indian Defence Advisors at Islamabad mission persona non grata, a move similar to New Delhi. On suspension of Indus Water Treaty, Islamabad called the move as act of war and said it will hold all bilateral agreements with India, including but not limited to similar agreement in abeyance. Additionally, it also shut down the Pakistani airspace for all India-owned or Indian-operated airlines. Diplomatic relations between the two countries were weak even before the latest measures were announced, as both countries had called back their ambassadors after tensions reached peak following India's removal of the semi-autonomous status of Kashmir in 2019. And as New Delhi holds Islamabad responsible for backing cross-border attacks, Pakistan's defense minister himself confessed to international media about Islamabad's long history of aiding terrorists. A report.
As tension peaks between India and Pakistan over New Delhi's accusations against Islamabad of aiding cross-border terrorism, a video of the so-called Tea Prime Minister of Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, along with Pakistan's defense minister, has gone viral over Pakistan's support for terrorism and praising the terrorist. In a viral video of early April, which was supposedly of an address of a government event, Chaudhary Anwar-ul-Haq heaped praises on the terrorists and said they will continue to attack India with full strength. Haq's admission of state-sponsored terrorism further got fueled after Pakistan Defence Minister Khawaja Asif admitted to Islamabad aiding terrorists in the past. Talking to UK-based media platform Sky News on Friday, Asif, on a question about Pakistan's long history of supporting, training and funding terrorist organisations, admitted Pakistan has been doing this dirty work for 3 decades for other countries. Activists have demanded the time has come for sanctioning Pakistan over its export of terrorism.
This is very unfortunate that in recent months, the so-called Prime Minister of Azad Jammu and Kashmir and some TV anchors like Najm Sethi in Pakistan have been advocating cross-border military operations, and the carnage that inflicted against innocent tourists in Pahalgam is the outcome of those policies and jihadi slogans which have been the part of media and policy in Muzaffarabad and in Islamabad and also in other parts of the region.
India has long accused Pakistan aids and supports terrorists for conducting attacks in India. New Delhi multiple times in the past has said relations with Islamabad cannot be normal until Pakistan takes actions against terror outfits operating from its soil.
Afghanistan remains a top humanitarian priority for the United Nations Population Fund, which supported over 900,000 people in 2024 despite operational challenges under Taliban rule. In its regional report released on Thursday, UNFPA, which focuses on sexual and reproductive health, said that it provided 25,000 plus dignity kits, equipped 1,119 health facilities, deployed 46 mobile teams and distributed over 2,800 emergency kits. It also offered psychosocial care for survivors of violence, vital in a country where women face rising isolation and abuse. Regional Director P.O. Smith stressed even in the most politically constrained environments, women and girls must not be left behind. The agency urged continued global support to maintain basic care access. This comes as the US has cut nearly $24 million grant to UNFPA for work in Afghanistan. Experts believe the aid cut off could unleash new economic instability in the country. And Bangladesh Nationalist Party's senior Joint Secretary General Ruhul Kabir Rizvi on Thursday criticized the interim government, saying it has failed to reflect the hopes of the country's democratic forces. Formed after a violent pro-democracy movement, the interim setup lacks a strong foundation for democracy, Rizvi claimed. While acknowledging some progress, he said there is no clear roadmap for democratic reforms. Rizvi accused Awami League leaders of threatening the government, disrespecting the judiciary and influencing law enforcement. He said Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's associates are acting with impunity due to their deep-rooted presence in law enforcement agencies. Rizvi warned that without strong action, covert groups aligned with the ruling party will continue fueling political unrest. And Sri Lanka will begin work next month on plans to develop an energy hub with India and the UAE, aiming to boost its post-crisis economic recovery by leveraging its strategic location. The deal was signed during Indian PM Modi's recent visit, the first by a world leader since President Anurakumara Dissanayake took office in September. The hub, located in Trincomalee, will include a multi-product pipeline, bunkering facilities and possibly a refinery. It will also revamp a World War II-era storage tank farm, partly owned by Indian Oil's Sri Lankan arm. Representatives from Ceylon Petroleum, Indian Oil and AD Ports will meet in late May to finalize a business plan. President Dissanayake also met UAE Deputy PM in Colombo to discuss energy ties. Separately, China's Sinopy has signed a $3.2 billion deal to build an oil refinery in Hambantota in southern Sri Lanka. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.